A team that has been under quite a lot of scrutiny through 10-second Twitter clips that's projected for 88 wins is the New York Mets. I'm, of course, referring to the borderline Little League-esque footage of Bo Bichette at third base. I've never been more scared for a fan base on Twitter because I feel like they had a fantastic offseason. I think they heard me making fun of the fact that they used to be employed by the Brewers, and he said, watch this.
Yeah, you really did. I was thinking about that in like the days
I'll tip the cap on that. He heard me. I think they did a wonderful job remaking the team in a way that it feels like they're in the same spot, but in a more, I don't know, it's not ethical, but in a way that just feels better. But that the Bichette at third thing feels quite risky.
I appreciate the fact that they did not just like roll over and die after swinging and missing on like a couple of the really big name free agents.
And losing Alonso.
Right. But that is right. That's kind of like, I don't think the Mets had as good of an offseason as like everyone touts them to be. I think at some point they were just like, well, we have to spend fucking some money or else everybody in our fan base is going to freak out. And it's like
the Giants a couple of years ago.
Right.
It's like,
so like,
Aaron
okay,
Judge didn't take our money.
$200 million to Willie Adames. And they're like, okay, well, we're just going to give Bo Bichette like one of the biggest AAV contracts ever to come play third base just so that we can say we spent money. Like and like they did a lot more than that. I'm not saying it was terrible or that it, you know, they got significantly worse or anything like that. I mean, you kind of alluded to it a little bit when you opened the floor with the Mets, and it was like they're kind of, I feel like, somewhat in the same place that they were, just with money in different areas. And I don't know. I don't really like Luis Robert. Really, like he had like a 580 OPS last year or something absurd. Like he hit a
Scott, they gave up a premier switch hitter. If you ask the White Sox, you ask the White Sox office.
Hilarious. So,
dude, how does the PR people not get at Chris Getz for that, man? He kept doing it
4 times.
Yeah, that was tough, bro. That was so secondhand and embarrassing.
Yeah, once you. It happening more than once is like insane. Like one time you can be like, all right, like he was just thinking of somebody else. Like,
the way that he tried to do a stand-up bit in the statement about it, where it was like, I called him and said, even though he only hits righty, like it was still
it was the worst quadrupling down ever. It was awful.
We're not friends. Like I'm not like, ha ha, Chris Getz, you cheeky dog. Like be a fucking grown-up. Like, I'm sorry, I cut you off. I apologize.
No. I mean, that was pretty much the end of my thought. I for as much, you know, like money as they spent, and for as the big of, you know, names that they maybe brought in, I just none of it on the offensive side is really proven. Like I don't know that there's a guarantee that this works, I guess is my point. And I think we probably could have said that about the Mets for the last 5 years anyway. So like I don't know. Again, I appreciate the aggressiveness. I think every fan base wants their front office to be, you know, aggressive in its pursuit of players, but I don't love their offseason as much as a lot of other people do.
They did pay Jorge Polanco $20 million a year to play first base. Like that's kind of crazy. I don't even hate the player, but just $20 million a year for him to play first base, your Pete Alonso replacement is it's like crazy to me.
That was
like
that is
money,
why I initially slandered this.
Yeah, true.
That was we got Pete Alonso in the aggregate. You know, Scott, the reason I'm more complimentary about it and say, like you said, yes, they are kind of in a similar spot, but the reason I'm complimentary on that is the biggest area of improvement is like the defense up the middle is now very good.
For sure.
And so that to me is like, if you're going to be in the same spot in terms of where I think your floor is.
How long is Lindor out? I don't know that.
He's back opening.
Oh, okay.
They say that
he may miss opening weekend.
Sure. Yeah.
So
okay, like he'll be back in April. That's really all I care about. Yeah.
So if that's where you're going to sit, where I'm like, if the floor is like that, I just, you know, there are plenty of videos we have made, and I've said in social circles for years, I firmly believe with the Mets, what can go wrong will go wrong until I see
Mets are going to Mets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I feel like they did a good job addressing that element, where I feel like that will happen less. Like, I'm not going to see Jeff McNeil boot a ball in a 1-1 game in the 8th inning this year. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be like Mark Vientos instead.
I don't know. You said Bo Bichette defensively looked like a little leaguer like 5 minutes ago. I chose very much still.
I chose the second base replacement on intentionally.
Sure.
I don't think Marcus Simeon's making those kind of silly plays, but
that's fair. Yeah,
they're still going to exist. They're still the Mets. I just think there will be less of those moments.
The biggest thing for me when I look at this roster, and obviously the bullpen is something that's very dynamic and something that always comes together over the course of the season. I'm like, what are you really leaning on for a bullpen here? Like, you got Devin Williams, but I'm looking down the list of names and I'm not inspired by this bullpen guy.
They lost one of the best closers in baseball and replaced him with a guy that had a 5 ERA last year. Like, I love Devin Williams. That's not like, I think he'll bounce back and be great, but like that is reality. Like, that is true.
But then like, even ignoring Devin Williams, 2-3 on the depth chart, if you look on Fangraphs, is Luke Weaver, AJ Minter.
Yeah.
I don't mind Weaver.
I like Weaver.
But after that I get really worried.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot. Like I said, the bullpen can be really dynamic. It can come together over the course of the year. And obviously, if there's a team with the resources to make something happen, it's the Mets. But like, I don't know. Those guys are not doing it.
Well, it's interesting too, because like the bounce back kind of guys that they could have gotten for lesser, it's Ryan Helsley, who was horrible for them, which like kind of like burns that. We're like that guy.
The fan base would have revolted if they brought him back. Just like,
yeah, dude.
Good God.
So they like, in that sense, I think it's tough because there wasn't another option like that. It was Devin Williams was the other bounce back candidate guy, and they got that guy. So like, it's a weird hypothetical, but if Ryan Helsley had been an Arizona Diamondback and it sucked, and then they had brought him in at the discounted rate, I think we'd be looking at the bullpen with like those three and being like, well, they've got to get 7, 8, 9.
But I'm also like, I don't know, why are the Mets not the team that goes out and gets Brad Keller for what the Phillies paid for him, or like a deal like that? You know, like a guy that's pretty quality. He's not going to light up your world necessarily, but like, it's just going to give you quality innings out of the bullpen. I feel like that's a deal that the Mets should have been more.
I think the Mets, honestly, if you're going to go into it and say, well, we can just go fill the bullpen at the deadline, like what the Yankees did, where they brought in, what the Yankees were, they remade
the old super pen of fat ass David Bednar and Camilo Duvall walking everybody like.
I think that's what their plan is going to be. It's going to be. I tell you this right now, they're going to fucking call for JoJo Romero in July. Like, we're going to see how, and like, we're going to pick the phone up, obviously, but like, I think they're just going to do that, where they're like, all right, it's July 15th. Who's hot and who's a team that's really not going to make it.
And they might also be a team that's willing to pull the trigger in like June, start making the early.
Totally. Yeah. They might be, they totally have the resources to be that first domino. I think that's fair.
If we want to talk about question.
Go ahead.
Only other question with the Mets. Are we not giving enough credit? Like, obviously, there's been a lot of movement around the team. And like Scott said, it kind of comes out looking the same as it has over the last, 5 years. At the end of the day, are we not giving enough credit to a lineup that begins with Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor?
I mean, it's unbelievable, dude. Just 2 first ballot Hall of Famers locked up.
Well, I'm a Bichette hater to some degree, but that's a pretty good number 3 too, at least offensively.
Absolutely. I think
strictly
Bichette,
offensively speaking.
I think Bichette, if we want to talk about the evolution of what the 3-hitter looks like in baseball, Bichette to me is what I think the ideal 3-hitter in modern baseball looks like. A guy that can hit for power, but is much more a guy that like you want to have hitting with runners on base.
Definitely.
And I think that, I don't know, he's going to be an interesting watch for sure. The next team that I want to bring up of fascinating, the Mets, by the way, are projected for 88 wins, like I mentioned, which I think
they're winning the East. I'm going to put that in there real quick. I think they're winning the NL East.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if they did.
I
vibes for the other two are terrible.
Yeah, I think that's like
the Braves are running a football practice apparently, and the Phillies hate their own players. So
Scott, they've got Bryce Harper in the hyperbolic chamber. He's in like an ice thing.
Yeah.
He did
He's right next to Ted Williams' head.
He literally did. and
it's a good spot to be.
Whatever. This team
where is Ted Williams' head in this scenario?
It's a great point.
It's in the bone marrow smoothie Bryce Harper's making for his TikTok. This team is projected for 82 wins, and I really would like to talk about them next. I have described them as the most MLB The Show season 2 of an MLB The Show sim of all time. I'm referring to the San Francisco Giants. This lineup is the most MLB The Show lineup on the planet, where you're just like, is that Harrison Bader on the Giants?
I kind of see the vision, honestly. Willie Adames gets a fat contract for no reason. Yeah.
It's a lineup that doesn't look bad. It's just, again, like, you want to talk about, John, you gave the example of, like, they're not bad anywhere, but it's like, what will happen here? That's what it feels like with the Giants more than any other team in baseball, where I'm just like, they're collecting the highest level of, with maybe the exception of Devers, it feels like they're collecting the highest level of pretty good. Top down in the lineup. Like, that's what it feels like. Elliot Ramos, pretty good. Like, Willie Adames, pretty good. It just, I don't.
Man, did you guys see the videos of Devers swinging, and people are like, Jesus, he looks a little big.
I also just
he's good, dude. Let him eat. He's always been better the fatter he is. Every time he lost 10 pounds, he would go on he'd go on a slump every time he lost a few pounds. So let the big dogs eat.
I think it was like the sweatshirt he was wearing too, but people are like, "Fuck, is that Pablo Sandoval?"
I'm sure the Red Sox
my ears have never heard anything worse than Devers compared to Pablo Sandoval.
Thing a Red Sox fan has ever heard.
And hearing Pablo Sandoval is some of the worst things that Scott and I have ever heard. But also, like, the 3 through 5 of this rotation is Tyler Mahle, Adrian Hauser, Landon Rupp.
Jesus Christ!
And I just
like Robbie Ray's your 2-starter, then, right? Is that how
that's fine. Like, as a 2, it's maybe fine.
In 2020, in the Lord's gigantic, humongous 2026.
He was not bad last year. I'll give credit where it's due. I mean, last year the guy went out and
Rafael Devers ass.
2026.
Like, I'll say, like, Robbie Ray last year, he did go out and shove, I think, like 180 innings of like 3.7 with an above average K rate. Like you take it.
He's also 35, and you're backing on him to be your 2-star.
Yeah,
he's had injury problems.
2 years ago, his arm fell off. Like, it's like not exactly still.
But yeah, I just have concerns about. And I'm not privy to I understand, like, Buster Posey's got on the record talking about the difficulty of bringing free agents in. And I'm like, maybe as a hitter, what are these conversations with free agent pitching on the market? Like, like Giolito is still available. I understand that under the hood's not great, but sometimes it's just like the name. If you swapped out Landon Rupp for Lucas Giolito on the Fangraphs page, I'd be like, oh, that looks better.
I got a little birdie telling me that he's going to Atlanta. Sources are saying Giolito is going to be heading to Atlanta.
Rosenthal again? Was this our boy?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The Giants it just stinks of like an MLB The Show franchise sim where I'm just like, where do we go? Where do we go? Because they're locked in for big money with these guys too. And I just don't know. I understand there's like hesitancy with Posey. I feel like he's done a decent job, but I guess I'd open the floor of like, where would you guys go from here? Other than just banking on draft and dev.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Like they've been the silver medalist for like every big name free agent over the last 6 years. And like, just nobody wants to go there. I don't know. I think it's also important to realize that like they're doing this like, oh, we're going to, raise the floor and then like see if, the ceiling can just like, I don't know, be reached at some point in the season type of thing. And they're in a very good, well, at least top heavy division. Like, I don't know.
Who's going to stop the Rockies, man? Baseball needs to step in.
Man.
Baseball needs
to step in.
TJ Rumfeld's about to hit 75 homers as their opening day first baseman, dude. It's going to be disgusting.
I saw that Willie Castro deal, and I knew that we were over the edge for a lockout. I was like, man.
Dude, like Quintana and Sagano are going to maybe both set the record for single season home runs allowed. They're going to just be going. It's going to be like Maguire Sosa, but for home runs allowed by a Rockies pitcher.
Dude,
a great home run chase
a
of
30 for 30 on his season
Yeah.
yours this year. Oh my goodness, dude, that is
It's going to be a
Did you-
disaster.
I
Michael
don't-
Lorenzen too. Like
I would
I
have
don't remember
bought
what-
Rockies season tickets if they had signed Sugano and Miles Michaelis in the same offseason. I would have paid for season tickets.
Dude, did you see Michaelis?
First AB as a national, Dylan Cruz hits
Yeah.
a like 430-foot tank off of
Dude,
him.
and then
No, I
the
didn't
next
see that.
three
No
were
way.
it was home run Dylan Cruz, and then it was another home run immediately after, and then it was like James Wood double, and like they literally he threw to like 4 batters, and it was home run, double off the wall, double into the gap. And
Like,
they're
I
like, all right,
cannot,
dude,
I
you're
cannot tell
done
you, I cannot tell you how much joy I get. I literally texted my dad saying we need to build Heimblum a statue solely on the fact that he
Same.
did not
I
throw
agree.
Michaelis the like, do you want to come back deal? Solely off of that, he should have a statue next to Stan Musial. Like directly next to him. That is how much that means to me. God, that was
We all know
beautiful.
that the statues outside of Busch Stadium are dedicated to Carson Melinder.
they should be. They really should be. The amount of positive PR spin I give the org is I should
man.
get. But yeah, the Giants, and you want to talk about like bullpen? Like I love Ryan Walker, but like he's got stuff to figure out. For a guy who in charge of baseball who theoretically should know a lot about pitching, giving Tyler Mahle and Adrian Hauser the money he did, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. And they're projected for 82 and 80. And I hate to be like, they're going to go 80 and 82. Like they're not bad enough to win 75 games, but like, I don't think
But
they're
hasn't
good enough
that
to have
just
a winning
been
record.
like what they've been for outside of
Yes.
the crazy
The 130 win
They
season.
cheat.
outside of
They
that, like they've just for the last decade they've been that. Like they just are perpetually 500 and never, bring in. I guess like the one thing that can change it is like if Devers just has like a 950 OPS, then like okay, like there you go. I mean,
I get
And I do think that was smart. Like the
So-
way, like you said, just one quick thing. They're gonna,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be able to lure the free agents. I think that was a smart way of going about it. It's like this team wants to get off this albatross contract. We're gonna take advantage of that and get an elite hitter, and we'll pay the money. It's basically just like they gave him a 9-year, whatever, $270 million deal, whatever that ends up to. So I mean, maybe that's the way they go about it. Maybe there's another albatross out there come the trade deadline that maybe nobody sees coming, and it's like, here's a pitcher we can slide into a rotation that team doesn't want to pay. So I think that's how they're going to have to do it, is get creative, because I totally agree. As constructed, they're the most 500 team ever.
And I'm curious about that as a long-term strategy, because we've talked a couple times now over the last year about how teams like the Dodgers and the Mets are going to push the envelope on how much you can get deals to be short, high AAV instead of long-term. You're locked in the money forever. So at some point, those contracts may just not be out there anymore. And, who knows if this is the problem the Giants are going to be facing forever. But it's been a while now that this has kind of been the narrative of how they are dealing with building their roster. So I think that's
well, and even if you don't talk about like the short term where it's like it's a theoretical overpay and et cetera, and all that. Again, I know we're not privy to the conversations. I would love to be a fly on the wall for when they have these meetings with pitchers. Because, like, it has to be the dream, right? Like, surely. And so, I don't know. I mean, is Posey just walking in with his pants down? What's happening where there's such a disconnect where it feels like none of the major pitchers, because it's not even a situation like with Aaron Judge or like a Correa. Well, Correa is a bit of a weird thing, but, like, it's not even like that where we hear them in the mix. Like, I feel like I didn't hear shit about them for Framber, or like they just weren't there. And it's like, maybe those guys are just saying no, but I feel like we would have heard that. I feel like I would have heard, oh, pitchers are just not interested, but I don't hear that. They're never there.
Like, stupid question maybe, but I feel like I don't fully understand what this narrative of like nobody wants to sign with the Giants is even built up on.
I don't really know why that's a thing either. Yeah, I've always kind of been in that same camp.
You convince a bunch of conservative white people to go to San Francisco and tell me how it feels. Like, I suppose I don't think it's rocket science, guys. I really don't.
Well, right. That's what I've read is that Posey has had to fight negative. He said what's a negative depiction. Great city, by the way. It's a gorgeous.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it seems like a nice place to live when you're making millions of dollars.
The weather's
a year.
fucking every single day. Like,
oh, you want to live in commie California, Rudy? That's crazy, dude.
Scott, doesn't having 90 potholes on your way to and from the office every day, doesn't that just fill you with pride? Like, it's crazy how that is just like so much better than 70 degrees, and like, going to the doctor is easier. I don't get it. I get that it's hard.
About okay, that's fair. Talking about the
but then be it on the international guys. Where were they?
To be fair, they are. Like, they got Lee a couple of years ago. Like, that's that seems to be the route there.
The pitching aspect. There's been a couple. There's been multiple legitimate, at least middle to upside rotation guys that have come over from Japan that they've whiffed on, in my opinion.
No, they got the Astros guy. Like, that felt like a perfect fit for the Giants.
I mean, like Imanaga. Imanaga, didn't he come over like right after they had their crazy ass season? Like,
and he got like minimum wage too. Like, that's such a steal of a contract for the Cubs. Like,
not to mention
the Giants can't offer that
on him this offseason too. Like, at this point, Imanaga's built up goodwill with Chicago, but
he was available.
If you want to, if you want to take a swing on giving him 3-4 years instead of the one that he got to come back to the Cubs, I feel like that's not out of the question.
For sure.
Can I make a fun declaration about the Giants? Oh no, you go ahead. No, you've been trying to get your thought.
No. I would love to hear your fun declaration.
It's my fun declaration about the Giants. This just came to me. This is not something I've been cooking up, but this just came to me. I'm calling it right now. The Giants do another big Devers-like swing this year for one of the two Phillies' big contracts of either Bryce Harper or Zach Wheeler. When that situation, which I really feel strongly about, is going to go negatively, I'm staking my claim as the very first person in the world to say that I think Bryce Harper finishes the season in orange.
Wow. Yeah. He's going to be a Baltimore Oriole.
I was about to say. Like, where does he even fit with Pete Alonso?
He's going to finish the season in orange. He'll be arrested for gambling on games.
Welcome to the Calgary Flames, Bryce Harper. I really think the Phillies thing could go south quickly, and like that's the contract, especially with all the Dombrowski-Harper stuff, that I feel like I don't think it's as unreasonable as it might seem on the surface that Harper, obviously he's the face of the team. He's been, this whole core has been kind of built with him in mind. I don't think it's out of the question that if the season goes mildly south and this the relationship between him and Dombrowski doesn't repair, I think that's the perfect swing for the Giants if they really want to go spend some money without signing a free agent. So fuck it. Bryce Harper to the Bay.
This is a naive question.
That Hunter Strickland flip would do the rounds again after that trade, dude. He's got quite a famous moment on the wharf there.
It's nothing crazy, but the other thing that sticks out to me looking at this is that Roster Resource has Bryce Eldridge penciled in at DH, which to me also seems similar to the Cubs probably going to run out Ballesteros as the opening day DH. Are there other examples across the league of teams with this kind of like young prospect who can hit, and you're kind of at the point of like, we don't really have a DH, so I guess it'll be this guy.
Ivan Herrera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Ivan
kind of
Herrera,
interesting.
Carter Jensen.
I truly think that the age of like a player being developed as a DH that like literally cannot play anywhere defensively and like whatnot is going to be fizzled out.
Definitely.
I think that obviously you'll always have your guys that are just like veterans and just like, he's 38 but can still hit a little bit. Like, we're not going to throw him in the field. But I think the days of like young, pure DHs is honestly already like kind of behind us. And in the next, 5 years will be kind of completely behind us. Yeah.
Right. I think is interesting. Like with the Cubs, you have Seiya Suzuki. Like, you don't really want that guy in the field, but you probably want Ballesteros out there even less. At least if you're not behind the dish.
Rudy, how do you feel about How do you feel about Seiya being in center field for the WBC? I saw that is the plan for Team Samurai. Is Seiya Suzuki will be in center field.
Wow.
Are you nervous at all?
Can't say that.
As I just mentioned, you don't really want him out there in right field, and I don't have much more to say on the matter.
Hey, there you go.